ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WWE Smackdown, January 24th, 2017. And ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for the last couple of weeks of my, of not doing any reviews for you guys, but it's been busy with my life, so forth. I do apologize. I gotta get this channel back to the way it was, at least producing at least a video every couple of days, like I was before, and I'm going to try that my best. And I know I've said that a bunch of times. I know I said I was going to do the 205 Live. I know I said I was going to go ahead and do the NXT's reviews. I'm not feeling it with doing wrestling reviews very much. I think I'm going to go possibly another route, doing different, maybe picking a story here and there once every couple of days, just to give you guys some video information that I found on the internet about wrestling info, and share my opinion about it, giving you my overall emphasis on what I think going on behind the scenes in wrestling. It could be like anything dealing with the indies to the WWE itself. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try doing that. They're going to be like short videos, nothing too major or extreme. But at least something to give you guys worth watching on this channel. So let's go ahead and get things started, shall we? First thing starting off, we had Miz come into the locker room of Daniel Bryan. We did not see Shane McMahon whatsoever in this show, and Daniel Bryan's appearance was just in the beginning of this show, and that was the end of his appearances. So, with that being said, I've watched JD's reviews in comparison between Raw and SmackDown, and he has mentioned this, and he has a very valid point. Why do you need Stephanie and Mick Foley on the show throughout the entire night, making appearances, making statements, doing this, doing that? Why can't there be a main event match made in the beginning of the show or somewhere in the middle to at least give the audience something to say, okay, it's worth staying around for the 2 or 3 hours, whatever show it might be, to watch all the way through? You got to give your audience a main event quality thing to watch, whether it's a match or a segment. If you're not going to give them anything to watch for the end of your show as the main event, whether it's the segment or the main event match, there's no reason to even have the fucking show. Whatever is the highest point of your show, that's where it needs to end. And that's basically what we got here tonight. We did get a very good match. For the main event, it was a lumberjack match for the Intercontinental title with Dean Ambrose and The Miz. Yes, it's a repeated match, but it's for a return match to get his rematch clause in against Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental title. Which, by the way, was an outstanding match. I enjoyed it very much. Watched it all the way through, and it was very doable and worth watching as a lumberjack match. Not saying that all lumberjack matches are fantastic. Generally, they're the typical thing, which did happen in this match, but it was a bit surprising, which I'll get into once I get to the main event spot on my review. So, first match to start off the show is Randy Orton versus Luke Harper. Randy Orton and Luke Harper had a decent, okay match. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Randy Orton performed well. Luke Harper, even himself, performed well in this match with Randy Orton. Orton managed to hit a very well-placed RKO on Luke Harper, and Luke Harper sold this move very, very well. He bounced like a piñata from the mat all the way up in the air and onto his back. Very outstanding sell job on the move, and giving it the velocity and impact that it was given by Randy Orton, and allowing that move to look very vicious. So very good job on Luke Harper's part to sell that move. And of course Randy Orton picked up the win And then Bray Wyatt went ahead and hit the Sister Abigail on Luke Harper after he pretended to give him a hug and pretty much say everything was fine when it really wasn't. Now, I don't know if that means that they're breaking up the Wyatt family, or that means that Luke Harper was just getting a punishment by Bray Wyatt for losing the match to Randy Orton. I don't know which it is, nor does it really matter at this point. Truthfully, I think the Wyatt family should just contain of Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. I think those two should be a tag team, but knowing WWE, knowing their typical scenarios, I have a good feeling that this is just a Randy Orton infiltration type breakdown he's causing to the Wyatt family so that he can go ahead and pretty much annihilate the entire Wyatt family, where it just leaves Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt one-on-one, and that'll be for WrestleMania. Which, by the way, is actually not a bad match to throw on the list of matches they have not placed or penciled in for WrestleMania 33. So I think that would be a very well-placed match for WrestleMania. Not to mention, it got a main event spot on No Mercy. So why not give it a better, build-up than it did the last time? The last time was okay, but this one, being with him being an infiltrator within the Wyatt family, actually makes it a hell of a lot better. So it should be interesting what they do with this whole scenario that they got going for themselves. Mickie James, she actually made a promo and explaining why she went ahead and became the Luchadora against Becky Lynch, and helped out Alexa Bliss. First off, she gave out her accolades and stating that she won 5 women's championships and 1 Divas title, giving her 6 women's championship title reigns in total, and that she got the respect from Alexa Bliss. So that is pretty much overall, she's pretty much helping Alexa Bliss in the sense that Alexa Bliss respects her for what she's done in women's wrestling. So she's just returning the favor in general sense. Me personally, I think that was quite interesting, because if you look into her other part of her career when she was in TNA, she did a lot of stuff that now WWE's finally starting to do in their organization, which is putting women in a little bit more risque type matches, such as Hell in a Cells, steel cage matches, Iron Women matches, and so forth. And it is getting to become a regular thing for women in WWE. While in TNA, they already had that. They had women competing in steel cage matches. They had women doing hardcore matches. They were putting women through fucking tacks, for God's sakes, in a Monsters Ball match. So, I mean, in TNA, they've done all those things. Their roster in women's wrestling, though, has diminished and gotten worse, but that's just TNA for you. It's what they've turned into, a very low budget, but able to keep around some big names to make their company still popular in some cases for some people. But point being is, she was doing these types of things before WWE started doing these things. Not that they're going to mention that on their own television, of course, but Mickie James did revolutionize women's wrestling in WWE, as well as Trish Stratus and Lita. So those guys, those women right there, did some outstanding things to help build the landscape of women's wrestling in WWE. Now you bring in Sasha Banks, Charlotte. Granted, those women on Raw have not been promoted the right way. To me, they have given us good matches on pay-per-view. Regular television, it's been like the title means nothing. It has no rhyme or reason. It's just a hot potato being switched back and forth. But their main event matches on pay-per-views have been decent, at least, and have been somewhat revolutionary, but nothing to the extent to make you go, holy shit, about. Because it wasn't promoted right for it to be revolutionary. That's the problem. WWE Smackdown, they did something very well with Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch last week. They put them in a slow, but, put them in a less risque match, a steel cage match. I mean, it is sort of like a Hell in a Cell, only it's less dangerous, or at least the women in the Hell in a Cell between Sasha Banks and Charlotte wasn't exactly what I call super dangerous. They didn't do nothing out of the ordinary that was more dangerous than you could do in a steel cage match outside of powerbombing someone through a table on the outside, but you can't really do that in a steel cage because then someone already won the match, unless they did it before the match started, of course. But with that all being on the side burner, or whatnot, bad choice of words, just place that on the side. Their match was outstanding and very entertaining and fun to watch. And then Mickie James being the surprise person underneath the mask, which was being rumored that was the case anyway, was quite entertaining within itself. So now Mickie James and Becky Lynch have something to work with together. That should be a very entertaining and fun match to watch, and I would definitely keep my eye on that. And they already started putting that in the works, in my opinion, after this promo, because Becky Lynch came down to the ring, tried to attack Mickie James, and Alexa Bliss came out of nowhere when Mickie James was trying to go over the barricade, and she just popped her a good one right in the face. Pretty much knocked her on her ass. Then they had a skit was shown of Carmella having James Ellsworth trying various outfits. Like, really? And, like, who fucking cares? They took these two and made them pretty much do nothing. Well, that's terrific. Great. Wonderful. It was also a battle royal to determine a person in the Royal Rumble spot. And that was Mojo Rawley ending up getting the win and being the person that will be added to the Royal Rumble. Nothing big there. Who cares? Give it a 2 out of 5 stars just to be generous. There was footage of Natalya attacking Nikki Bella outside the arena earlier during the day, and her face was smashed right into a fucking trailer where it was connected to a semi-truck, where there was a photo of John Cena and Nikki Bella. So that was kind of interesting, a little bit old school, and pretty much, kind of pushing and extending this rivalry even a little bit more and putting more heat on each other. So the next thing after that was AJ Styles calling out John Cena. This confrontation was the best. I wouldn't say the best ever, but it was the best way to close out this build-up towards their rivalry match for the world title at Royal Rumble. I think that it was very cool how they brought in reality, how John Cena stated, oh, well, if you don't make it, you're just going to state that it's my fault. That's going to be your excuse saying that I buried you. As going into what wrestling fans say that he does to all wrestlers. He buries them, puts them into the ground, and makes them look like shit. AJ Styles points out that on the Today Show that he stated that AJ Styles was the Atlanta guy who he doesn't know their name, knows the person's name. Like, really? That's really kind of fucking disrespectful in a sense. Like, you can't say the man's name. He's an Atlanta guy. Yeah, okay, he's from Georgia. But you can't say the guy's fucking name? Like, what the hell? Why not? Is there a copyright infringement for his name to be placed on television on another program or something? I mean, I don't know what the fuck that was about, but that was kind of weird in my opinion. But I guess that was more help towards building for their match, I would guess. I'm not sure. Maybe they were trying to intertwine a TV show with, or guest show with the storyline between John Cena and AJ Styles. Which, if that was the case, that was extremely smart. To take reality and bend it with the show itself, building a storyline behind it, which they pretty much did throughout this entire promo between these two. John Cena, stated, "Hey, I spent 10 years carrying this house on my back. You've been spending 6 months doing it. So, I mean, hey, what do I gotta do? I gotta go to Indies to prove that I'm a great wrestler, when in reality, WWE is my home. This is where the real shit happens, and this is why this match is going to be considered to be one of the greatest ever between you and I." And, to be honest, he made WWE sound extremely good to be in instead of being in the independent wrestling circuit. Which I could agree with because of the fact that those guys have to compete in many different organizations. They don't have the capability of being covered by a wrestling organization as like WWE. They're independent contractors, pretty much in business for themselves. They're not working for an actual company of any kind. And WWE is that company / promotion. So they got coverage, pretty much, I would say. And they're not really, they don't have to depend on going to other wrestling independent circuits and promotions to help get themselves an income. They just have to stick with the one company they're with and do what they need to do, and problem solved, and there you go. So, very well put together promo. I definitely liked both men in this promo. They were very good on the mic, and it helped build this match, and I'm very much looking forward to this. I hope that AJ Styles and John Cena's world title match is the main event for Royal Rumble, or at least the second to last, just before the Royal Rumble match. Kevin Owens and fucking Roman Reigns better not be anywhere near the Royal Rumble match or the main event. Because if it is, there's something deeply wrong with Vince McMahon and the booking on this fucking product. Because there's something deranged. There's no fucking build-up between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. If it wasn't for freaking Chris Jericho, this freaking rivalry would mean nothing. Maybe Kevin Owens would actually be something, actually. And Roman Reigns would be a fucking footnote on Kevin Owens' freaking foot. Or ass. Or whatever way you want to put it. Point being is, AJ Styles and John Cena is the best promoted match out of any regular match on this card. And the only other thing that you could put over that is the Royal Rumble, because traditionally you have the Royal Rumble as the main event. But other than that, the damn world title match for the WWE Championship should be the freaking main event, no doubt. If the Royal Rumble match isn't. From there we had Dolph Ziggler facing Kalisto. Kalisto wins by a super kick to the face with a quick win. Afterwards, Ziggler tried to attack Kalisto with a chair, but Apollo Crews made the save. So he pretty much runs out of the ring, and Apollo Crews protects Kalisto for whatever insane reason. And I have a good feeling eventually these two are going to be in a one-on-one match, probably on a pay-per-view. I would imagine Elimination Chamber for SmackDown. Natalya was actually scheduled for a match with Naomi, but Nikki Bella was attacking her in the backstage before she could even come out. And then Alexa Bliss came out after Naomi requested for someone to come out, anybody at this point, to have a match with her, because she's not coming there empty-handed without doing anything. So Alexa Bliss came on there. She went ahead and stated, "Okay, so you want a women's championship match with me?" And she goes, "Yeah, why not? What the hell?" And she says, "You're a nobody to me. You're not even worth my time, blah, blah, blah." and she seemed like a real bitch about it, and she is a very outstanding heel character on SmackDown as a women's champion. I like Alexa Bliss as women's champion. I do hope that they come up with a good opponent for her to face at this point, now that Becky Lynch has got her sights more on Mickie James than the women's championship at this point. So I kind of hope they figure out some way to promote someone in this division. Maybe do a triple threat match. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Bella, and Natalya for the women's title for the SmackDown pay-per-view for Elimination Chamber. I think that would be a good match for them to set up for. They could go at Naomi if they got plenty of time to be able to build her up into possibly a number one contender, but she hasn't done a whole lot to even be considered or even looked at as a number one contender in my mind. So that's just my opinion. If you guys have any opinion on that, let me know on the comments down below, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. But moving into the main event. We got Dean Ambrose and Miz for the Intercontinental title match in a lumberjack match. There was a lot of chaos going on by the end of this match. I thought the match was a no contest. The match was basically getting thrown out. Fortunately, the match did have an ending, despite of all the chaos that was going on inside the ring, with all the lumberjacks getting inside the ring itself. So, with that being said, we pretty much got a Land of Chaos, kind of a Royal Rumble preview, and Dean Ambrose picking up the victory with a Dirty Deeds and getting the 1-2-3. Match itself, I have to say it was actually rather decent. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy myself, and I did have a good time watching SmackDown. So leave your comments and opinions down below. Let me know what you guys thought of this show, and I'll get right back to you on that. At this time, though, hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up if you liked the video, and I thank you very much for your time watching this video, and I'll speak to you again soon.